Our next speaker is Dr. Umar Bowers. Dr. Bowers is not only the co-owner and medical director at Dawson Med in Wilmington, he's also involved in numerous innovative initiatives, including as the chair of the North Carolina Health Talent Alliance for our region. Dr. Bowers is here to talk with us today about a major initiative happening in our community, the Healthcare Talent Pipeline. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Take it out. Yeah, thank you. Okay, they didn't teach us this in med school. So thankful for this opportunity. Thank you, Rob, and the amazing team that you all have, the Greater Wilmington Business Journal. There are pros and cons of being asked to do something like this. Pros is sharing some of the exciting things happening in the healthcare space. The cons are following Shane Fernando. So just lower your expectations just a bit. I think I heard, I'm only one espresso in, that if we renovate Thalian Hall, Taylor Swift is coming. Is that what I heard? Something like that, right? Let's just go with it, make it viral. She may see it, right? So I'm really excited. So we were, at least my wife is part of the kind of coming back to Wilmington. I'm a DC Beltway kid, but my wife is from Wilmington, born here at New Hanover Hospital, grew up in Rocky Point, and went to Pender High. She doesn't like me saying this because if you just do the math, Trask wasn't built yet. So she doesn't like me sharing the fact that she's before Trask. But she and I met at Wake Forest, and we lived in Charlotte for a good little while, and we loved it. And we both worked for large healthcare systems, and we wanted to hang our own shingle and open our own shop like a lot of entrepreneurs as well. And we thought Wilmington would be an amazing place to do it, and it has exceeded our expectations by far. And so I'm very thankful to have worked with a lot of folks in the greater Wilmington area. Going to share a little bit about what we're doing in the healthcare space in a collaborative fashion. But most importantly, we're excited about not where we are, but where we are going. And it's a fair question to ask, why is a doc and his wife, a family nurse practitioner that opened their own shop, on stage, right? What is it that I've done or we're doing that's so intriguing, and to which I would reply, fair question, right? I don't know, but I'm going to share what we're doing, and then it'll be up to you to figure out if this is intriguing at all, right? So I'll be honest with you, I'm going to share, but there must have been a lot of no's before you guys got to me, right? So I am an advocate for physicians, particularly primary care physicians, as an internal medicine physician myself. I'm an advocate for physicians. I'm an advocate for independent physicians as well. And a couple of weeks ago, I recorded a podcast with this gentleman here, Graham Walker, one of the podcasts in the healthcare community. Previous guests were Mark Cuban, Representative Greg Murphy from NCO3. I know, just like you, you're wondering why did they get asked before me? I have the same question. But I was excited to share some of the exciting things we're doing in this area, but more importantly, just physician choice, the choice to work for a large system, should that be your desire, or the choice to work for yourself, should that be your desire. And that hasn't dropped yet, but it'll be out soon. I also have worked, this company here is Suki. It's an AI company out of the Bay Area. I've worked with their product team on a lot of AI within healthcare, have been an early adopter with tech and AI. Their medical director of quality and research, and I just submitted an editorial to JMIR, Journal of Medical Information and Research. Journal of Medical Internet Research. And our co-author is the director of AI at the University of Miami. And the editorial was focused on AI and medical education. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a med school here? Hypothetically speaking, right? And so if/when that is the case, we will be tech forward at all times. Another hat that I wear, a couple of, again, just updates on perhaps some of the things that I'm doing outside of our clinic, Dawson Med, is this company here. This is an ACO enabler based out of Bethesda, Maryland. Been around about 10 years, and it helps independent practices stay independent. It has done very, very well. It's the largest network of independent primary care in the country, 20,000 clinicians, market cap of about $3.5 billion. I've worn the hats as a medical director. I'm currently the national ambassador for this company, and it allows me to travel and see independent primary care in different areas outside of Wilmington. So really thankful for that opportunity as well. One of the things I'm also excited about is the relationship I've had with the University of Wilmington, and that's been on several strata. One is we've always precepted UNC Wilmington students. From our very beginning in 2021 when we launched our clinic, we were really arms open for UNC Wilmington students because we were, my wife and I, the beneficiaries of really good mentors, really strong preceptors and mentors, and we wanted to pay it forward. So that's one area in which we operate with them. I'm also adjunct faculty, and on top of that, I'm the vice chair of the College of Health and Human Services Advisory Committee at UNC Wilmington, and a big basketball fan for the We're playing Marshall tonight, so y'all see me there if anybody's there. In addition, I was appointed by Mayor Sappos to be one of the commissioners of the Wilmington Housing Authority, allowing me to operate a different part of my brain as far as community engagement. I'm very thankful for that. And perhaps what maybe compelled them to put me on stage is the chair of this region's Health Talent Alliance. I'm going to talk about the Health Talent Alliance a little bit, but I'm the chair, and that means I am simply getting more emails. But I'm working very closely alongside two amazing individuals, and that's Amy Akers, who's the VP and Chief Nursing Officer of Novant Health, who's an amazing person, but sometimes irritating. Amy, are you here? No? She's probably. So you feel good about yourself if you've run 5 miles or you've been on a Peloton, and then you meet with Amy at like 7 in the morning. She's already done a whole marathon, and she's still there 15 minutes before you. So she's that person. So then I just decide not to mention the 5 miles that I did because she's so humble with hers. And Dr. Stephen Hill, VP at the Chamber, he sits juxtaposed. Yeah, give him a round of applause, right? So he's a really hard-working gentleman juxtaposed between CHEC and the Chamber, working really hard on healthcare talent pipeline, or just pipeline in general, because you may have noticed our area is growing a little bit. So I'm going to tell a story here. My new friend Ben from Vanico will appreciate this. This gentleman here is David Robinson. Anybody remember David Robinson, right? So NBA Hall of Famer, Dream Team member, 2-time NBA champion. I like here, can I get that? Right at the top, it says North Carolina's #1. That's not why I chose this slide, but I thought that even in 1987, they knew that North Carolina's #1. But nevertheless, here's why I have this picture of David Robinson on the screen. My family grew up, my family lived right down the road from David Robinson for many years of my childhood. And so David was super unique in that he was 5'9" in high school and grew to 7'1" by the time he graduated. Did not play high school his freshman and sophomore year, picked it up his junior year. Became this phenomenon, went on to the Naval Academy and brought them some temporary prominence, temporary because UNC Wilmington just beat them. And it's relevant because he was the #1 draft pick in 1987, but he had to do his service, his commitment to the Navy, right after his time at the Naval Academy. And the interesting thing was, when he came back home before going to the San Antonio Spurs, me as a 5th grader, probably like every other 5th grader, said, it would be really cool to have him come talk to our school, right? I'm sure that's how all 10-year-olds were thinking at the time. So I worked up the nerve, and I said, can you come talk to my school about what it's like to be on a submarine? And he was like, I'm getting ready to leave, but I'll send my little brother. Right? And the lesson that I learned in altruism, because it really wasn't about me, it was just so many people that were so excited in our neighborhood that he had been drafted #1, this ridiculous $26 million contract, which at the time of the NBA was huge. And so many people wanted to hear his perspective. So I said, hey, can you come talk to our school? And the lesson I learned is that altruistic effort, that endeavor, it always pays dividends, even though you don't know what it's going to be. So what happened was he said, no, I can't do it, but I'm going to send my little brother. And his little brother became my big brother. That's his little brother, who also went to the Naval Academy, right, Ben, and played basketball. And he became my big brother. And I like this picture on the end because this is on top of the old Bonneville, right, before David was drafted, right? The next pictures, which I don't show, is him driving a 944 Porsche and all that jazz. So life changed for the whole family really quickly. But from a physician who's running his own shop and is super busy, I'm very passionate about what happens from a public health perspective, right? So the North Carolina Health Talent Alliance, is a regional effort in our area, right? CHEC, the chamber, but it's happening in other regions as well. And the reason why I'm so thankful to work as the chair or serve as the chair is because I've never cared where or by whom it gets your mammogram or your colonoscopy. It doesn't matter to me, right? If Novant Health doctor orders your mammogram, God bless you, go get your mammogram. If a Wilmington Health doctor orders your colonoscopy, go get your colonoscopy. I more care about, do you have the resources to get the mammogram and the colonoscopy? I don't care who orders the colonoscopy or the mammogram. Does that make sense? And so that's my personal ethos that we bring to this Health Talent Alliance. And it's been really, really, really remarkable to see the work that we have done. Let me take you back to the genesis of the Health Talent Alliance. Does anyone remember how fun things were in 2021, 2022 in Wilmington, particularly from the healthcare scene? Dreaded is a word, right? I don't know if we've ever seen more vulnerability in our healthcare system, and I hope we never see it again. Because not only were there struggles in essentially every emergency room in every hospital in America due to shortages of staff, we also happened to be in an area that was growing. So we have, right, a city that was growing. We had a challenge because of the recent transition from the hospital happening within the past year or so. And all of these things were happening at the same time. And the question was, what do we do about it? And that was the genesis, that was the energy. So thankful for the conveners, our friend Natalie at the Chamber of Commerce, our friend CHEC, I don't know if Dr. Pino is here, and they're just working collaboratively because we realized that in order to solve this problem, we could not stay in our silos. And I'll give you a scenario. A medical assistant or a nurse would start at one clinic one day, and then they get an offer from another clinic, and the next day they're there, and then 2 days later they're getting an offer somewhere else. And we were paying more, right, in this arms race for talent, but we were getting less and less, and no one felt like we were winning. So the collaboration was not an aspirational goal, it was an indispensable necessity to stop the hemorrhaging, medical pun intended, because we could not sustain, and it did not matter if you worked in the emergency room or the operating room or on the wards or in the clinic or an ambulatory surgery center. It didn't matter where you worked. We all felt the same struggle, and the overall health of the community was then vulnerable. And so this was the energy that we brought to the table. And so we are a collaboration of healthcare employers as well as stakeholders in the community. Not to mention a very, very important piece of this equation is our educators, and that's K-12, that's our community colleges, that's UNC Wilmington, and so we're all at the table trying to figure out how to improve the healthcare talent pipeline. And so a quick snapshot of the employers, like I said, there we go, didn't learn that in med school. Regional healthcare employers, right, which is a representation across the ecosystem of healthcare. Our friends in Brunswick, Dozier are there. Our friends in Columbus County, Columbus Regional are there. Our friends at ECU Duplin Health. So of all of the counties that we are kind of serving, our catchment area, we have many people at the table. CHEC, Chamber of Commerce, and then I really do need to shout out NC Chamber Foundation, North Carolina Center for Workforce on Health. They're really smart people at the Shep Center. If you do research like I do, you always know that the epidemiologist is going to be the smartest person in the room. That never fails. I don't care if you're a surgeon. I don't care what you do. You're always going to listen when the epidemiologist speaks. And then there's NCAHEC as well. So a lot of folks were together and making this happen. A very quick snapshot of some of the things in our initial data, because we thought we knew the biggest challenge was nursing. That's what we thought we knew. But could we objectively confirm and prove that? And so we identified through about 15,000 employee organizations in 100 facilities that LPNs, RNs, MAs were the biggest need. We also identified, and this is important from the data, we all want to be data driven, so let's let the data drive, that CNAs and MAs had the highest churn. Because when the nursing vacuum happened, because a lot of nurses had travel opportunities, CMAs, medical assistants, filled that void. So now the nurses, right, were in demand, but that meant downstream to that the CNAs were now in demand, and the MAs are now in demand. And the churn, this is not an exaggeration. Can you imagine any industry with 90% churn? Like, how do you do your job at 90% churn? It's impossible, right? And so this was the data that, right, confirmed we've got to do something about this. So I like this slide, and I don't want to bore with data. I'm a data junkie, but this slide I like. So top of the funnel, right, the question we asked, in order to fill our nursing gap, because RNs is where we really focused initially, top of the funnel, what would need to be true in order to fill our actual gap? And what we realized is that the replacement demand was X, reasonable placements based upon the cohort of applicants, 1,000 and some change, meeting the requirement, a fraction of that, offered admission, a fraction of that, actual capacity, right, enrollment, completing it, right? And so we realized those, even though we're getting 151 placed, the need is actually greater than that. So we're, right, allowing ourselves to understand what would need to be true to truly fill the gap. So then our friends, Dr. Watson, Dr. Lance at University of Wilmington, College of Health and Human Services, Dr. Dean Naylor here at Cape Fear, realized we need to expand our offerings and expand the capacity of our nursing classes, and they did that. In many instances with support from the endowment, which was really, really helpful. My practice manager's daughter is a nurse now, went through this pipeline. And so this was us saying, we think we know, but let's prove that we really know how to fix this problem. My friend Dr. Machine Katabi let me borrow these slides. I will not do any justice to them compared to him, but simply here on the far right, that's education and healthcare as far as growth rate, as far as top 5 sectors in Wilmington. So we see 2019 to 2025, over the past 6 years, there's been a remarkable growth to the healthcare sector. Similarly here, this is employment in thousands. The growth of education and healthcare has shown us, right, that we have improved, but we still have a lot of room to go, because you may have noticed we're still growing, right? Brunswick County, the fastest growing county in the state, the 11th fastest growing county in the country of 3,000 plus counties. It is helpful, but also sometimes challenging when Southern Living Magazine lists Wilmington as one of the best cities, right? One of the dreamiest cities and all those things. That's great. But we have to understand from a healthcare perspective, growth is happening and it's going to continue to happen, right? Borrow this slide from NC Career Coast, right? So CNBC marked Wilmington as the top, North Carolina, it's my Wilmington bias, North Carolina as the top state for business. We were number 1 a couple of years ago. My home state of Virginia bumped us, but now we took back the title, right? But I would submit to you that you cannot have healthy businesses without healthy people. And so the take-home message is, as excited as we are for all of the growth and all of the exciting things happening in other sectors, it is incumbent upon us in the healthcare community to work together to the extent possible, right, on the things where we can partner to make sure that our communities are healthy, so that our businesses can be healthy, so that we can continue to thrive, okay? So I'm really thankful for this opportunity. I'm excited to hear the rest of our speakers today, and I'm really thankful that the Greater Wilmington Business Journal continues to lead, and I think you all do a good job of choosing your covers as well. Thank you.